Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Welcome to our Wednesday Connect Restorative class. So this month we are diving deeper into yogic philosophy. And in our Wednesday restorative class, we're going to take a deeper look at the Niyamas. So Niyama, Niyama. And this is our personal discipline. These are guidelines for our relationship to ourself. So there are 5 different disciplines that we're going to look at, and I've linked a posture to each discipline. And we're just going to come into the pose and reflect on what these different concepts mean to us and how we can apply them to modern day. Yogic philosophy was created thousands of years ago, and these 8 limbs come from someone called Patanjali, and he created this 8-limbed path. And I don't speak to philosophy a lot, and that's why I'm sharing this information, because we tie these different pieces in to every class that we do. So, for example, asana, which is the physical posture, is another one of the limbs. Pranayama, which is breath awareness, is another one of the limbs. The niyamas is another one of the limbs. These self-disciplines or guidelines for our relationship to ourself. So we're going to start in a supported child's pose. I invite you to bring a blanket across the base of your mat and your bolster out in front of you. Come onto your knees, bring your big toes to touch, and bring your knees out as wide as feels comfortable in your body. Always remembering that the props are optional and they're there to help us to relax into the pose, to help support the body into relaxation. In our restorative practice, we're wanting to shift into our rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system, where we can really release and let go. So, walking yourself forward, bringing that bolster underneath you, you decide if you want your hands extended forward. Maybe it feels better to have your hands back. Maybe it feels better to have a bend into the elbows and really have the elbows into the floor. Find what feels most restorative and most comfortable for you, and really allow yourself to sink into this pose. So I invite you to start with your left ear down on the mat. Close down your eyes, and let's bring in our breath awareness here. Inhale through the nose, into the belly, fill the lungs, fully expand, pause at the top. Open mouth, exhale, breathe it out, let it go. Big breath in, fully expand, 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 and full breath out, open mouth, exhale, let it go. Let's take a couple more. I invite you to close your mouth and start inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Letting your body feel supported, feel grounded. So the first of the 5 niyamas is called Saucha. And Saucha means cleanliness. So yes, it is cleanliness of the body, but it is also cleanliness of the mind. So we want to be aware of our thoughts. We want to be aware of what we're putting in our bodies. Is it clean food? Is it nutritious food? Is it healthy food? We want to be aware of what we're putting into our minds when it comes to images, when it comes to videos. Is there a clean aspect to what we're putting in? Are we filling our minds and our hearts full of fear, full of horror, or are we filling it full of joy, full of happiness, full of compassion, full of empowerment, full of inspiration? We have the choice as to what we watch, what we read, what we listen to. And all of these things are connected to Saucha. Now, it's not only that, but we can also look at it and apply it to our relationships. So are our relationships healthy? Because Saucha, I see as cleanliness, I see as clean, I see as healthy. And so are the relationships, are you speaking truth to yourself and to others? Are your relationships supportive? Do they feel clean? Do they feel empowering? So there's a lot of different ways that we can apply cleanliness or saucha to our life. So I'm going to let my voice fall quiet for a minute. And I want you, or I invite you to reflect on where in your life maybe you could tidy up. Where in your life? So maybe it is your thoughts. Maybe it is your emotions, which your thoughts are directly connected and created and create your emotions. Maybe it's your space. Maybe you could create some new wellness habits. Where can you implement more cleanliness into your life? Let's come back to the breath and just allow ourselves to sit and reflect with that, on that concept. Bring your hands underneath your body, press yourself up, and we're going to shift into a happy baby, a supported happy baby. So taking your bolster out in front of you, let's shift over and onto our back. I'm going to use the bolster underneath my hips and the blanket underneath my back. Let your back come down onto the floor and then reach for the outside edges of your feet. And gently pull your knees in toward the side of your body. Maybe rock side to side. So the next piece is Santosha. And Santosha is contentment. Now, contentment in my philosophy, in my understanding, is different than happiness. Because to me, happiness, it comes and goes depending on circumstance. Whereas contentment is this underlying current that can always be there no matter what circumstances are facing you in the external world. We can connect to gratitude and be grateful for who we are, for what we have, for where we are, for the lessons that have created us to be who we are today. And when we connect to that gratitude, we are connected to the contentment that is Santosha. So our contentment is unwavering. Our contentment is still and solid. And I chose Happy Baby because it is content. When you think about a happy baby, maybe that brings a smile to your face. And that's one thing that I love about our minds, is that our minds can transfer us to wherever we feel more content. It can also transfer us to where we feel discontent. So when we gain awareness and choose our thoughts, we can cultivate that sense of contentment, that deep-seated feeling of being content. Choosing to be content regardless of what the external circumstances are. I invite you to bend into one knee and extend out through one leg. This is a really good hamstring stretch. Let's take a couple breaths here. And then pull one leg in, extend the opposite leg out. Now, within the confines of our yoga practice, every day we're different. Every day we come to our mat, we're different. We can do different things. We're capable of different things. And our practice, we can allow ourselves come back through center to be content with no matter where we are. There's a level of acceptance. Let's shift our legs side to side. And so no matter where your practice leads you in a day, you can choose to be content no matter where you are. And you can choose to be content with whatever your practice has to reveal to you that day about you. It's so much less about the postures or the asanas, which is one of the 8 limbs, which we'll look at tomorrow. It is more about what we can learn, what it reveals to us about us. Let's bring our knees together and plant the feet on the floor. And let's shift right into our bridge pose, shifting the bolster right underneath our low back. And let's extend our legs out long for this gentle back bend. Opening up through the chest, maybe you want to shimmy the shoulder blades underneath your body. And your hands can be on your body, or they can cactus out, or they can be down by your side. Find something that feels comfortable for you, really opening up through the front line, reconnect to the breath. The next niyama is tapas, Tapas. And the translation is heat. But how I choose to interpret that is discipline. So we can practice discipline in so many different aspects of our lives. Our yoga practice is one of them. We can continue to stay committed to showing up to our mat every day for our practice and ultimately for ourselves. This builds heat, this builds desire, this builds passion, this builds alignment. All of these things can be under the umbrella of tapas or discipline. Our discipline, and no matter what it is, whether it's to our practice, whether it's to choosing foods that nourish us, whether it's choosing thoughts that are inspiring and encouraging, these are all forms of tapas and discipline. I invite you to, in your mind's eye, identify and recognize where in your life you express discipline easily. Where in your life is it easy for you to stay committed, to stay on track, to stay in alignment with who you truly are, with what you truly want? I'm going to let my voice fall silent, and I encourage you to reflect on that, as well as stay connected to your breath, breathing into the front line. Where do I practice tapas or discipline in my life? And then maybe ask yourself, where would I like to create more discipline? Is it connected to your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, your yoga practice, physical activity? Where would you like to create more discipline in your life? Where would you like to create more commitment in your life? Let's extend our legs straight up toward the ceiling, using that bolster for support underneath the hips. And we're just going to hang out here for a few moments. Maybe roll out your ankles, maybe point and flex your feet. Let's bend into the knees, plant the feet on the floor, lift the hips up, slide the bolster out from underneath you, slow and controlled, lower the hips down. Let the spine fully connect to the floor. Take a moment, take a couple deep breaths. Inhales and exhales through the nose. Keeping the blanket underneath the low back and bringing the bolster to the right side, letting the right leg fall out, bringing the right foot to the inside edge of the left leg and letting yourself come down. So this is a reclined tree pose or fallen tree. You can cactus out your arms to open up through your chest. I've decided to connect this pose to the next niyama, which is Svadhyaya, Sadvaya. Maybe my pronunciation isn't quite perfect, but what it means is self-knowledge, self-reflection. And the reason I chose tree pose for this niyama is because trees are rooted and grounded. And when we have self-reflection and self-knowledge, we are rooted and grounded in who we are. So this self-knowledge and self-reflection is us learning about us. It is the commitment to us learning about us. So when we have a reaction to a situation or a circumstance, we have the opportunity to step back and reflect. Maybe it's when we're triggered by something externally. We have the opportunity to reconnect internally and reflect, to help ourselves to understand ourselves better. So this applies to our yoga practice through our postures and what our postures reveal to us about us. So maybe a posture reveals that we have tension in our hamstrings. Maybe a posture reveals that we have tension in our low back or that we're feeling more open in our hips. All of these aspects are parts of self-knowledge. So our yoga practice really helps us to know ourselves better. From the mental perspective, we are able to connect to the thoughts that are created by the sensations in the body. So maybe these thoughts are judgment or criticism, and that shines our light of awareness into these parts of our being, into these parts of our psyche. Let's switch out our legs as we extend. First, pull the knee in, take a moment, do some extensions, let it come down. Take the bolster, switch it to the opposite side of the body. Bend into the knee, let the knee fall out, bring the left foot to the inside edge of the right quad. And let's come back into that cactus arms, fallen tree. So as we feel sensations, the sensations create thoughts. And the thoughts can tell us a story about our beliefs, a story that's connected to whatever it is the sensation is. This story could be, I'm too old for this. This story could be, my body is broken. This story could be, wow, I feel so good in my yoga practice. No matter what the story is, Our yoga practice can reveal our beliefs around ourselves. It increases our self-awareness, our self-knowledge as we reflect. When this happens, we have the opportunity to choose different thoughts and create new neural pathways in the brain, creating new beliefs, creating new ideas, new ways of being. So this is how our yoga practice helps us to practice sadhavya. Every time I'm going to say it different, okay? I don't know which time is right. But it translates to self-knowledge, self-reflection. Let's take a few deep breaths here and just notice how we feel in this pose and if it reveals anything to us about us. Maybe there's judgment of, I really like this pose. I really like this class. I like learning more about yogic philosophy. I like applying yogic philosophy to my yoga postures. I never really knew that there was this side of my yoga practice. I'm so grateful to be learning this. Maybe those aren't your thoughts, but maybe those became your thoughts as I said them out loud. Let's bring our knee back through center. Pull the knee into the chest, extend it long, pull it in, extend it long, pull it in. Both knees to the chest, rock yourself up into a seated position. And we're going to come into our final posture of today's practice, and it's going to be a supported butterfly. So for our supported butterfly, let's roll up our blanket. And I hope you have some blocks handy because it'll be really helpful for our supported butterfly. Roll up your blanket, and the blanket's going to go underneath our bolster behind us. And we're going to create that nice backrest behind us. And then grab your blocks and bring your blocks to the outside edges of your knees, supporting your knees as you allow yourself to fully lay back onto your bolster. Let your hands come down by your side, close down your eyes. Now, the final concept, the final niyama, this one I really have a hard time pronouncing. Isvara apradiam. Ishvar apradiam. But what it translates to is surrender to the divine. And I chose reclined butterfly because to me, this offers us a lot of surrender. This posture, it offers us a lot of support, which offers us a lot of surrender. And when we surrender to the divine, we completely trust in our path. We trust that we're being guided. We trust that everything that happens to us is happening for us. Every circumstance, every situation is divinely guided in our lives. So in our yoga class, in our yoga practice, as we're moving through our classes, as we're moving our body, as we're connecting to our body, we're connecting to our mind, we're connecting to our emotions, trusting that we are being divinely guided through our practice, that we are being protected, that we are being watched over, that we are being supported, and that the divine is working with us on our mats, off our mats, every moment of every day. We are never alone, and that divine guidance is there for us, and we can completely surrender to that divine guidance. So as we surrender in this pose, as we allow ourselves to really sink in, allowing the shoulders to fall away from the ears, allowing the knees to fall out wide, allowing our body to fully surrender into the props, we are practicing Surrender to the divine. Allowing ourselves to settle and sink in. Connect to your breath and maybe repeat the affirmation, I surrender. I surrender to the divine. I surrender to divine guidance. I surrender to the fact that the divine is guiding me at all times. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Fully release and let go. I surrender. Let's take 5 more deep breaths here. And with each exhale, see if you can release and let go a little more, a little more. I surrender. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Flip your palms, palm facing down into the floor. Slowly, gently press your upper body up. Guide your knees together. Take a moment to pedal out your legs. Let's come into an easy seat. Ground down into your sitting bones, getting nice and tall. Let's press our palms together and tuck our chin to our chest. Reflecting on these 5 niyamas, these 5 disciplines that are each a part of our yoga practice. We have Saucha, which is cleanliness, cleanliness of body, mind, relationship. We have Santosha, which is contentment, which is that deeper place, that place where we can be truly grateful for who we are, for what we have, and for our lives. Tapas, which is heat and discipline, that discipline to show up, to choose what is right for us, to choose healthy thoughts, habits, foods. We have Svadhyaya, which is self-knowledge and reflection, where we can gain self-awareness. And then we have Svadhyaya, which is surrender to the divine, knowing that in every moment of every day, we are divinely guided through our journey. And most of all, that we are fully loved unconditionally by the divine. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing in this practice. I hope that this opened your heart and mind to these different yogic philosophies, the concepts of the niyamas. I love sharing this practice. I love sharing this philosophy, and I love sharing it with others. The light, the love, the wisdom in me sees, honors, reflects, and encourages. The light, the love, the wisdom in you. Namaste. I hope to see you again on your mats very, very soon. And until then, may your light be your guide.